It was crazy. I feel terrible for the bus driver and I feel bad for, there was, I think about 9 kids outside is what someone had said. It looks like quite a few kids. They were outside with their towels on. I just felt terrible for everybody involved. The roads were definitely really scary today.
Today on the Morning Edition, a close call when a school bus carrying elementary school students tips over in Wasilla. We'll have those details. Plus, the Anchorage Assembly proposal held public discourse on the sales tax proposal as it makes its way toward appearing on vote ballots. We'll tell you what you need to know to stay informed as it moves. And later, Holiday Wednesday is on NBC today. We have a special preview of both holiday specials airing tonight. A peek at the stars expected to perform and a tease that the music we'll be able to enjoy as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. Lots of holiday cheer as we inch closer to Christmas. So exciting.
Yeah, hard to believe that it's December. We're closing in on the end of the year, and we're actually going to be talking about some of the coldest air of the season arriving as we close out this week. We do have a first alert weather day for Fairbanks and the interior for your Wednesday. Now, this comes with snow that is already beginning to fall across a good portion of the interior. Now, the most snowfall accumulation that Fairbanks has seen so far this season is 3 inches. And with the potential that we could see more than that, that's why we do have that first alert weather day for today, just to keep you in mind, keep you in check with the amount of snow that we could see for portions of the interior. We're also going to be watching temperatures dropping across the state this week. Of course, some of the coldest conditions will be through the interior, where those afternoon highs will drop well below zero, while those overnight lows will be sitting about 20 to 40 below zero. Still holding on to that ice storm warning out towards southwest Alaska. We've seen several locations with some icing on those power lines, elevated surfaces. That winter storm warning continues out towards western Alaska, and of course that winter weather advisory into the interior. Now, this ice storm warning expires at 9 a.m., so a lot of this activity is beginning to wind down, but you will still encounter some of those very hazardous conditions where we have been seeing some of those icy concerns. Expires at 3 p.m. for that winter storm warning, and into the interior, that winter weather advisory expires at 3 p.m. for you as well. So our area of low pressure still anchored out towards the Aleutians. We've got that colder weather funneling in on the backside of that. We've also got some very windy conditions that have been building through parts of the Bering Sea, through the Aleutians as well as southwest Alaska. Of course, some of the strongest winds have been out over the open waters of the Bering and through parts of the western Aleutians, where gusting in upwards of about 50 to 70 miles per hour. So still warm across the southern coastline. Notice, though, colder weather as you head to the north. 3 below in Kotzebue, double digits below zero as you head out towards the slope. And we're going to be talking about those temperatures steadily dropping through the rest of the state. I'll have more on that in that first alert weather day for you coming up.
In today's top story, the recent freezing rain became a dangerous reality for some drivers yesterday, and it culminated for some in an accident that ended up far more fortunate than it could have. A Matsu Borough School District bus run by Durham School Services lost traction on the ice, slid off the road, and landed on its side. Take a look at these photos from a neighborhood in Wasilla. The district says 9 elementary school students were on board when it happened. We spoke to the woman who captured these images.
Left the driveway, drove down the street, went to the stop sign, and I even slid through the stop sign. And then I passed the bus on the way on Old Matanuska Road, and I was thinking in my head, I hope that bus is not going in our neighborhood. Dropped my daughter off at daycare, came back, and that's when I saw the bus in the ditch and ambulance and all of the people.
The district told Alaska's News Source that local EMS responded to the scene. Durham School Services said only minor injuries were reported and all students were transported to their school. Well, last night, Anchorage leaders heard directly from residents as the new sales tax proposal could move one step closer to appearing on ballots. Adelmi Ruiz joins us now from the newsroom with the latest on this developing story. Adelmi.
Kristen, the plan as proposed would create a citywide 3% tax, but there's a lot of details to shift through on this and how it moves forward. If approved by the Assembly, it would appear on the April ballot and could begin as soon as July 1st, 2028. The proposal excludes housing, medicine, groceries, gas, childcare, and utilities. The public is weighing in on whether this tax is worth supporting. At the meeting last night, there were about double the amount of people in attendance as usual. Many of them were there to speak on the proposed sales tax. The tax revenue would be earmarked for housing and childcare initiatives, infrastructure, and public safety. It is also meant to lower property taxes for residents in Anchorage, which has been the primary source of funding for the municipality of Anchorage. Now, this was the first public hearing for the proposal, and plenty of people showed up to talk about it. Notably, the candidate for Alaska Governor Treg Taylor was in attendance to speak on it as well.
I think anytime you're going to increase taxes, you better have a pretty good reason for it. Anchorage families have had to tighten their fiscal belt for many years now. The municipality has failed to do that. They have runaway spending, they have a runaway budget, and instead of trying to control that, they're going to pass the buck on to the Anchorage taxpayer, which I think is an injustice.
I strongly support this ordinance. I strongly support the things we need for the city to run it in the right way. 24 years in law enforcement, I totally and completely support more money being used for public safety in the city. Thank you so much.
The city says the tax would bring in at least $148 million a year. You can follow the story as it continues to develop at alaskasnewssource.com. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. Now to an update on the missing woman from Valdez, Mary Jo Evans. Investigators now believe that she is dead. This comes after her SUV was found near the Caribou Hotel in Glen Allen that burned down last month. Danny Tompkins has been following this story and has this update and questions that still remain.
It's been nearly 4 weeks since 86-year-old Mary Jo Evans was last seen.
I've worked with Mary Jo in the past, so I've been concerned since seeing that original post.
The Valdez resident, known for running the Valdez Cooper Basin Insurance, was reported missing, officially on the 19th by loved ones, after she was expected to have been traveling to Anchorage. It's a trip that would have taken her through Glen Allen.
The community is very invested in hearing, finding out what has happened, where she is, and everybody is, indicates praying and hoping that she is found safely.
That search coming to an end on Tuesday, after law enforcement confirmed Evans and her car were seen at the hotel. Investigative efforts included
security camera footage, speaking to other first responders who were on the scene initially, our inability to reach and contact her since the fire happened, her vehicle being burned up at the scene, as well as other investigative efforts that both fire marshals and troopers took.
How did you feel when you heard that she's believed to be deceased?
I want to know what happened, and I want to know from what the people in the building saw, did, were told to do.
Despite search efforts on the scene, with DPS's K-9 team and hand evacuation, no remains have been found. DPS is convinced Evans died in the fire.
There's no evidence that we've been able to find of Mary ever leaving the hotel after she was positively seen inside of the hotel.
Now the community grieves for losing an important member.
We just got to be patient and pray for the families to be there for their condolences, their peace, and obviously respects to the departed.
While some people may still be asking questions, the memory of Mary Jo Evans will live on in the community she called home. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
Well, deputy fire marshals say a 39-year-old Fairbanks woman died after intentionally setting her own home on fire. She has been identified as Alicia Anderson. The Steese Volunteer Fire Department arrived on Whistling Swan Drive around 2 in the morning to find the cabin fully engulfed. Firefighters found Anderson's remains inside. Investigators confirmed she owned the property and started the fire. Her body was sent to the state medical examiner for autopsy, and her family has been notified. In the past 12 months, people in Anchorage were killed in pedestrian versus vehicle collisions, according to the Anchorage Police Department. In 2023, there were 6 across the United States, according to data compiled by the Washington Post. There's been a surge of pedestrian deaths in the lower 48. Alaska state data shows 19% of all fatalities on our roadways happened when someone was walking or biking. Additionally, there are Alaska-specific problems such as snowy roads, dark clothing, and drugs and alcohol. You can read the full story on our website right now. 2 Alaska state troopers were honored today, for risking their lives to save people from life-threatening situations. Justin Mattson shares the footage from the rescues and what the governor had to say to these hometown heroes.
You're seeing video from Alaska State Trooper Garrett Stevens, the moment he entered freezing water to save his fellow Alaskan. And this was his first thought.
Water's cold.
But once he saw the person struggling...
But, quickly you start seeing that person that's struggling in the water, and it kind of gives you that drive and that motivation to keep going forward and to make sure that you can get the job done.
Stevens wasn't the only trooper honored. This is footage from Trooper Nathan Hollenbeck, who pulled off an ingenious rescue.
I tied myself into my vehicle using a rope and climbed down in the water just to kind of hold him up out of the water.
The 2 men both entered frigid conditions, earning Governor Dunleavy's praise.
They acted immediately and selflessly. Because of that, the 2 men they rescued are alive today. I don't know how you put a price on a human life, especially an innocent human life. And these guys risked their lives to save these 2 people.
And how did the officers feel to be honored?
It's definitely an honor. I think that it could be any of the troopers really being up here myself. I mean, I just happened to be the one that was on duty that day.
I was honored. I think a lot of troopers do extraordinary things that, don't get recognized. So it's nice to actually get recognized for something like this. Kind of like the governor said, maybe we're a little embarrassed and we don't want to get singled out.
Justin Mattson, Alaska's news source.
Well, have you been out and about over the past few days? If you have, you may have seen a familiar sight, as it's the time of year once again that the Salvation Army is out ringing their bells, raising money for local charities to support Alaskans this holiday season.
And we're still holding on to first alert weather days across the state, more so into the interior where we're seeing snow and bitter cold to arrive this week. I'll have more on that, but first at sunrise, 9:50 in Anchorage, 8:24 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back. 15 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday morning, and it is a first alert weather day for Fairbanks, Aaron.
Yeah, here in South Central, as you can see, looking from our tower cam here in Midtown. Not much going on across South Central. We may see some light areas of freezing drizzle later today, but of course the bigger concern is shifting to the north, where we do have that first alert weather day for Fairbanks in the interior. Snow is moving in. We've got the heaviest snow to be expected for areas north and west of Fairbanks. This is where we could see storm totals amounting to about 8 inches of that snowfall accumulation. Now, this is a look out towards the airport this morning. We're still holding on to some of that light snow that's been steadily falling, winds remaining calm, and those temperatures, they're holding in the lower 20s. Now, throughout the day, we're actually going to see temperatures steadily falling for the interior. And this comes as that snow gradually tapers off. You can see snow for the most part gripping areas of the central interior as you head north and west of Fairbanks. This is where we're going to see that greatest potential for accumulation throughout the day. Now, the reason we're first alerting today is because the single day most snow that has fallen in Fairbanks is 3 inches. And today has that potential to bring more than that. So just an alert of what we could be dealing with across the interior today. And then, of course, beyond today, we're going to begin to tap into some colder weather. So moisture is streaming in from the southwest. We've got a frontal system to the north that's dropping to the southeast, and you can really see that when we pull this map out a bit more. That's that colder weather off towards the north, Kotzebue, areas of the slope already seeing those double digits below zero temperatures, and that's going to steadily drop as we welcome in the remainder of today and into the weekend. And as that occurs, as this colder weather shifts to the south, it's going to remove all of that snow and cloud coverage for the interior. So we're waking up this morning with those temperatures in the teens and the 20s. Some light snow continuing across the interior will amount to some additional accumulation throughout the day. But notice how quickly this comes to an end as that colder air filters in from the north. That's going to lead to drier and sunnier weather for the interior. In fact, looking ahead at the next week to 2 weeks, a good portion of the interior will hold on to mostly clear skies and bitter cold conditions. In fact, a good portion of the state will see somewhat dry weather here over the next week to 2 2 weeks. You can see throughout the remainder of today, adding on to what has already occurred through the interior, we could see an additional 1 to about 3 inches of snowfall accumulation for areas north and west of Fairbanks. Locations to the south may see up to an inch, if not some locally heavier amounts, but that snow again will quickly come to an end later this afternoon into the evening hours as that frontal system sweeps to the southeast, driving in that cooler and drier air. So for today, you can see temperatures starting off in the 20s, steadily dropping by noon. You can see those temperatures in the teens. And then by the time you head home this evening, we're going to begin to see those temperatures dipping down into the single digits with even colder weather arriving as we welcome in the close of this week. Another first alert weather day into your Friday as the coldest air of the season begins to settle into the region. The reason why we're first alerting for Friday, while we typically see weather this cold around this time of the year, this is the first time this season that temperatures have been this cold, and they'll likely stay that cold for a good period of time. Notice into the weekend and next week, daily highs double digits below zero, while overnight lows, Kristen, could be anywhere from 20 to about 40 below through the interior.
Well, that familiar sound of jingle bells is ringing through stores across the state. The Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign is underway, raising money to help Alaskans this holiday season. Every dollar stays local to support charities such as the McKinnell House Shelter, Meals on Wheels, food pantries, substance use rehabilitation programs, and more. The volunteers are needed to ring bells across town, and organizers say the demand is up this year because of rising costs and job losses.
We have started off with a bang this year. We got to start a week early. Thankful to the Fred Myers for allowing us to ring earlier this year, so it gives us a little boost. We still have some challenges down the road of fundraising because it's going to be a hard season with all the needs that are out there. So that's why we're out here a little early this year.
The fundraiser runs through Christmas Eve. You can drop cash into the kettles or even scan a kettle to donate with Google or Apple Pay. You can also go online to donate or sign up to volunteer. The Iditarod is about 3 months out, and tonight we're looking back at how far the race has come. Jace Bertrand spoke with a musher from the very first Iditarod 54 years ago to see how sled dog care has changed over the decades.
These hyper-Alaskan Huskies have become a staple of the last great race on Earth. However, the breed of dogs who compete today are different from the ones Rod Perry ran in the inaugural Iditarod.
In the old days, when we first began to race and dogs had not been bred specifically for the contest, their coats were very wolf-like. So those old Huskies, when they were bedded down to sleep, just curl up, put their big thick tail over their nose, back to the wind, and that thick double coat would keep them just fine.
The dogs would evolve as mushers used them for competitive purposes.
Over time, as the dogs were bred, along with being bred for more speed and endurance and all these wonderful qualities that our Huskies exhibit today, a lot of the coat was spread out of those dogs.
Special jackets were developed to keep the dogs warm in sub conditions, but could be taken off. Also, the use of hay bedding for animal comfort has become common at checkpoints.
At first, we really didn't require anything for the dogs to bed down on, but if we were in forested country, we would try to cut some spruce boughs and give them little spruce bough beds.
As Iditarod continues to grow, so do the concepts for keeping man's best friend comfortable on the trail.
I've wondered about how I might have trained my old dogs to lie on a blanket. Maybe some would catch onto it, maybe some wouldn't. Be a lot lighter than carrying straw bales. Whether the dogs would like them as much as they like straw, I don't know.
Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.